Hi, we're back. Good to be back. Took a couple days off. It's Friday, July 24th, and it's about 15 minutes to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, couple things. I took a couple days off because I wanted to do some studying. I studied some about VWAP, which we'll get into, and I did some more research on Level 2 and how to read Level 2 market depth. But first, I just want to say today, I did trade today, and I wasn't going to. I was just going to watch the VWAP and the level 2 on a few stocks and just watch and learn. But today we're going to talk about two stocks, trying to keep it brief. ENT and ASNA. These are two retail bankruptcy plays, which has been kind of fascinating lately. They've been very popular. No one actually really knows why. I right before this recording, I read a couple articles about why everyone jumped into Hertz and J.C. Penney. These were two bankruptcy plays that happened last month that surged huge right after they announced that they were going into bankruptcy. Hertz went up 577%, like few days or 5 days after they announced their bankruptcy. And so I decided, why not? I was staying clear of these because it just seemed like a strange anomaly. And I think that's the best explanation for it, because we're just in weird times with the lockdown. A lot of people are trading, a lot of inexperienced people are trading, and it's creating some strange anomalies, I guess is one way to put it. So anyway, ENT. So what I did with ENT was I watched the VWAP, and from what I understand with VWAP, it's volume weighted at average price. I watched The Boiler Room, which is a YouTube channel where the guy there explained it pretty well, and he basically said that it's a volume weighted average price, and that it's basically the average price of stock based on the volume and the price for that day, only intraday. I mean, maybe you can look at 2 days, but for the most part, intraday. And the basic takeaway from it, it's a good way to find support and resistance levels. For those of you who don't know support and resistance levels, a lot of times they're things you can just kind of make up on your own by looking at long-term charts and short-term charts, a year-long chart, a month-long chart, and you try, let's use this for example. This is just today. So if we wanted to look at support and resistance, you could try to say, all right, the low of today was $5.08. So you could say that resistance. I'm sorry, not resistance. I'm saying support. It probably, in my opinion, would be probably somewhere in here. I'm taking this bottom, which matches up close to these two bottoms, calling that $5.33, and then resistance. The high was like $7. Well, actually, the high was $7 right at the open, as you can see. But I would say resistance comes in around 645, in my opinion. Maybe even a little lower, but so the VWAP is a good way to kind of, in my opinion, just what I'm learning very shortly in a short period of time, is that you can look at this and say this line, this red line right here, the VWAP line, acts as support and resistance. So when it's down below, this is your resistance line. When it's up high, this is your support line. And from what I understood from when I watched the Boiler Room guy, is that when it's below VWAP, you can sometimes choose any one of these points as an entry point for a buy. And of course, there's always risk, because looking in retrospect, you can say like, oh yeah, this would have been the perfect time to buy in. It's the lowest of the lows, and when it went from 509 up to 580. So we're looking at like 10-15% gains. This one right here from 529 to 670, 18-25% right there, right? That would have been probably the best one. Or if you got in here, maybe you would have done, well, I don't know, 593 to 685. It's almost $1. That's pretty good, 20 plus percent. So So I this was my first time really trying to understand VWAP and try to watch it as the day went on. And I thought about entering a few times, but I tried to be disciplined and say, just watch. So that's what I did. So in any case, let's look at the one that I did do a play on. ASNA is another retail bankruptcy. And look at this crazy thing. So yesterday it was trading at 57 cents because it's dying a slow death. And then overnight it had news about them filing for bankruptcy, and somehow this excites people. I don't know why, but it does. And it spiked right at the open up to about 71 cents. It went down, blah, blah, blah. And then, it was climbing and climbing. I was watching it as I was watching ENT. And an interesting thing happened. It broke a certain level, and I got in on this trade at 10:51 in the morning. So I got in right around here, and what happened was it broke a resistance level, or broke a high, I think a 10-day high. That's right. It broke a 10-day high. And sometimes when it breaks a 10-day high or any kind of high, it sometimes bounces off that and starts heading down. But it didn't. It broke through, and I was watching level 2. And an interesting thing happened with level 2 was all of a sudden the buys were stacking up, and the size orders were huge, and it was starting to spike at a buck. It spiked all the way up to $1.20 very quickly, and I was just about to put a buy order in for about $1 when all this happened, and then I was about to increase my position because I thought, okay, this thing's going to go supernova, and then it halted. Which I was like, wow, how about that? So it halted. So it broke some sort of circuit breaker when things just move too fast. So I decided to wait. I didn't get my trade in. I didn't get my entry in. So I just sat there and waited for it to open up again. It opened up again, and I got in at $1.08 at 10:51. So at 10:51, I got in $1.08, and it went up to 122, and I was about to hit the sell button, and then it dropped, went up, dropped, and then it. When did I sell this thing? 10:58. So I sold it at $1.09 because it was just failing. It went down to $1.04, and I was like, oh man, this thing's not gonna. I held it for I literally held it for 7 minutes, thinking, well, maybe it'll punch back up. But what I did with level 2 is I could see that at $1.10, the ask size, the sellers were stacking up and putting a lot of resistance on the buyers, and then it would drop down to $1.08, and then the buyers would then start stacking up, and they would chew through the $1.09 asks, and then I thought, okay, this could be good, and the sizes were big on the buy side, and I thought, okay, here we go, it's going to break through, and then it broke through 109, and then it hit 110, and hit another wall of sellers, so I decided to just get out, which was a good thing because look what it did. It just dropped. Now it's at 90 cents. So those were the things I did today. One lesson I think I've also learned is the speed. Speed is very important, and when I say speed, I'm talking about get your entry in, get your exit in, and have those orders ready because these things move fast. And the ups and downs. I mean, even on ENT, as I was watching it, when you look at the chart, you think, sorry, that's not it. It's a different, there we go, Global Eagle. You look at these and, like for example, if you bought in here at 10:10 in the morning, and then in 7 minutes later you held, and 7 minutes later, and then it spiked up in 1 minute to 641. Man, if you're not ready to hit that sell button, man, that thing all of a sudden will be back down to here in the next minute, down to 588. And then then you have to cancel your order, have to modify your order. So one thing I'm thinking about doing is, as I look at VWAP and I look at level 2, and I look at potential support and resistance levels, is to maybe when I do my limit buy and my limit sell, but let's say limit buy in this case, and put it in way ahead of time, and just put it in, just put the order in, even if it's like say the stock is up at like 590, right here 590, and I'm not sure what's going to do, or maybe it's starting to drop down here to 566. I'll just put not a random, but I'll just put like a limit order in at what I would like to buy it at, and it's a little bit of a, I hate to say it sometimes feels like a guessing game, but I think using level 2 and using VWAP will help make that a more educated guess, I guess is where it's at. So I want to thank Easy Peasy. He has a YouTube channel. He did a great job of explaining level 2. Also Warrior Trader. He's a little bit more advanced on explaining level 2. I want to thank him. And of course the Boiler Room guy explaining VWAP. So enjoy the weekend. Maybe I might do a trade late in the day. We'll see. If so, I'll do another video. Otherwise, have a good weekend and take care.